My name is Bert, and this is the Still Life Podcast. Welcome back to the Still Life Podcast, everybody. My name is Bert, and of course, I am your host. It is Wednesday, May 26th, 2021. Feeling quite a bit better today, not completely back to normal. Still got a little dizziness and nausea, a little bit of kidney pain, but a lot better than I was yesterday, and really a lot better than I was this morning even. Been able to eat more, been, of course, drinking a lot of fluids, and haven't taken any pain meds today, mostly because I really wanted to see if that was the cause of my nausea and dizziness. So I don't know still, because I'm still a little bit dizzy, a little nauseous, just a hair. It's gotten me a couple times where I've had to stop what I was doing and sitting down. But overall, I'm feeling much better than I was yesterday. So I'll take that. And so with that, I actually also have some more positive news on the job front. Got another phone call for an interview today. That interview will be next week, so of course I will update you on that as well. Still applying for jobs, still looking, with that sense of urgency, just trying to find something somewhere while I figure out really what the next step is for me. I've also been looking at going back to school. Not something I'm super excited about. I think it's something that I would definitely benefit from. So I'm looking at a few different options and trying to figure out, which one makes the most sense for me. So, that's where we're at. Also, another piece of exciting news, I have booked my first interview for the podcast. Not going to tell you who it is quite yet. I will as we get closer. But he's excited. I'm excited. We're both excited. It's going to be good. So that'll be coming up here in the next week to 2 weeks. We've got to get our time slot nailed down, but it's going to happen. It's on the books, and I'm excited for it. And I hope you are too, especially when you find out who it's going to be. And with that, here I am 5.5 weeks into the podcast. This is, 4.5 weeks, right? Yeah, this is week 5. So 4.5 weeks into the podcast. I feel like I'm starting to kind of hit my stride. I feel a lot more comfortable talking to myself into a microphone. And, I feel like I'm hitting my groove. And now really from here, it's just building up a base and, of course, creating more content that is engaging and, interesting that you guys want to hear about. So, as always, feedback is a big part of this for me, as far as what you've heard, quality of what you've heard, sound quality, content quality, all those things. Those are important to me because I'm not just doing this for myself. I mean, part of it is, it's my journey, but, I also want to have creative, engaging and interactive content. I want this to feel like a conversation. So, all those things are very important to me. So as you're listening to the podcast, if you have an idea, if you have feedback, please let me know, because I'm only going to grow and get better with that feedback. I had a former customer of mine, and I would say he is a friend of mine, most definitely, that I've known for several years, and he and I got to know each other when I first started in the alcohol industry. He's been listening to my podcast and giving me absolutely wonderful feedback and told me it was like having a conversation sitting across the bar from me. And, that was one of the coolest compliments I've ever had, because that means that, this is fairly natural and that I am in some way making this conversational, which is the way I like it. I am telling a story. I'm telling my story, and like I said, sometimes it's hard to sit here and talk to a microphone without having a conversation with an actual human being. But, as I continue to get into this, I continue to get more comfortable and feel my way through this. I'm starting to enjoy this more and more, and I look forward to recording these episodes during the week. And so I just want to make sure that as I continue to grow this podcast and build this podcast up and my ability to speak, I want to make sure that I'm bringing you all along for the ride in a creative and engaging and conversational way, really. So that's super important to me, not so much from the approval standpoint, but, if this isn't listener friendly, I'm really just recording an audio journal, and I might as well just be on Star Trek, right? But I don't want this to be the captain's log. I want this to be an interactive story, and I want us all to be able to get something from it. Now, I understand that not everybody is going to get something out of every episode every day. That's just not, even reasonable to assume that would happen. You may listen to every episode of this and not get anything out of it, but the next episode you're going to get, a huge knowledge bomb dropped on you. Or, you've gotten little tidbits of information or knowledge here and there out of every single episode. It's going to vary from person to person, experience to experience. And so again, I have to try to balance what I want to do with, what's good for my listening base, my audience. That is very important. And so, it becomes this critical thought process of, how do I keep this in line with the direction that I want to take it, but also continue to grow my listener base and keep people engaged. So, it's a tough mental challenge, but I am up to the task. Like I said, I'm enjoying this. This is, becoming quite fun for me, and I hope you guys are enjoying it as well. I will continue to talk about my experiences, things that I've learned, things that I struggle with. I'm going to be open and transparent with you guys because that part, the transparency is in some ways very therapeutic for me. So in that way, I'm 100% doing this for myself. But again, I also want to put something out there that while it may not be the most unique thing out there in the world of podcasts, it's engaging and you enjoy listening to it. That was one of the big reasons why I'm doing a, sub 15-minute podcast for the most part. I didn't want to have a 2, 3, 4 hour a la Joe Rogan style podcast because that, for me right now, that's way too much work. But number two, I want something that you can sit down and listen to, whether you have 10 minutes of time or you have 2 hours and can listen to multiple episodes. I want these to be easy to listen to if you have a lot of time or a little bit of time. Some people have a short commute, some people have a long commute. If you have a long commute, you can knock out a few episodes. And so having that sub, kind of 10 to 15 minute episode base was very important to me. Now, I will say that on the episodes where I do interviews, you can expect those to be longer because it will be as well as I can do it. Of course, I want it to be conversational. I don't want it to be an interview as much as a conversation of two people just having a chat and learning about each other. So, those episodes I'm anticipating anywhere from 30 minutes to an hour. They could go 15, 20 minutes. They could go 2 hours. I don't know. I don't want to put it in a box. I'm going to, this first interview that I do with a friend of mine, I'm going to do it. We're going to see how it goes. And we'll let nature take its course and kind of determine how long that episode is going to be. So anyway, really today I just wanted to kind of talk and give you guys an update about what's going on with me, what's going on with the podcast, and kind of my vision and goal. So with that, I want to thank you guys for joining me today on the Still Life podcast. As always, for questions, comments, topic ideas, suggestions, or to be a sponsor of the Still Life podcast, you can reach us, thestilllifepodcast@gmail.com. That's thestilllifepodcast@gmail.com. Also, make sure you follow us on social media. We do now have a Facebook page. Of course, we are on Instagram at The Still Life, and we have a YouTube channel as well. Now, with the YouTube channel, when I do interviews, I will video record those. Those will be recorded, and I will post those up on the YouTube channel. So, again, thanks you guys so much for joining me today on the Still Life podcast. I look forward to growing all of this with all of you guys. So, thanks again for joining me today on the Still Life podcast. We'll talk again soon.